All right, thank you. Alongside Pierre, LeBrun, Darren, Dreger, and Frank Seravalli. Guys, been a rough first half for the Sabres. Dead last in the league. Kevin Adams made his call on Ralph Kruger. And Darren, his next item of business surrounds what to do with Taylor Hall.
Yeah, fair enough, especially with the trade deadline looming. But Taylor Hall has acknowledged that he is still open to his options. And one of them, of course, is staying in Buffalo and signing an extension with the Buffalo Sabres. The other being obvious, and that is negotiating a trade. What we know is that Darren Ferris, who represents Hall, and Kevin Adams, the GM of the Buffalo Sabres, are expected to have discussions on those options in the very near future. Either way, Hall just wants some stability moving forward. So that either comes with the extension with the Sabres or by navigating a trade to a team that is interested in extending Taylor Hall in the future.
What about the Dallas Stars? They went from the Cup final last season to 8 points out of a playoff spot at the midway point this season. But Frank, they have a lot of games in hand. So how do you see this playing out?
Well, it's pretty clear in Jim Nill's mind what the focus is, and that is squarely on making the Stanley Cup playoffs. And look, they've got a lot of runway. You mentioned the games that they have in hand, but also it's just about surviving until they can get Ben Bishop and Tyler Seguin back. They're within the 3 to 5 week range from returning. And at that point, the Stars have no intention on selling at all. So if they have a couple bad weeks and they fall out of the race, well then they could certainly be taking calls on guys like Jamie Alexiak and Andrew Cogliano. But in Jim Nill's mind, if they're close enough, the Stars could even be in the mix to be adding if the price is right at the deadline.
Pretty similar script in Columbus, Frank. The Blue Jackets right there with the Dallas Stars in those central standings trying to reel in Chicago. And that's where their focus is right now. There have been teams, I'm told, that have kicked the tires on Nick Foligno, who would be a real prime target as a pending UFA, a physical player, a leader, the captain of the Blue Jackets, just the kind of guy you want to add to your top six come playoff time. But for now, the message I'm told from Columbus is they want to make a run here. They want to try and get on a run over the next couple of weeks. They got 4 games coming up with the Carolina Hurricanes, which could be pretty pivotal on that end. Foligno has a 10-team no-trade list. He's part of this discussion, but Columbus hopes it's not a discussion, that he stays on board and they make the playoffs. We'll see. The New York Islanders, Toronto Maple Leafs, teams to watch on that front.
All right. What about the Oilers, Darren? They got a split focus, bolstering for a playoff run this year, but what to do about expiring contracts as well?
Yeah, there's a juggle. There's certainly a balance in all of this, Gino. They're focused right now on staying in that playoff mix in the North Division. But as early as next week, it's expected that Oilers GM Ken Holland will engage in preliminary discussions on pending unrestricted free agent defensemen Adam Larsson and Tyson Barrie. Now, this, of course, amid the ongoing negotiations with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But as I say, the priority is on the playoffs with the Edmonton Oilers. So if the negotiations with 1, 2, or all 3 of these players drifts into the offseason, then the Oilers are okay with that.
Well, you're talking about pending UFAs, Dregs. How about 8 pending UFAs on the New Jersey Devils? And so no surprise, I'm told that the Devils have heard from pretty much every playoff team or bubble team in the last couple of weeks. They are the action team heading into the trade deadline. Kyle Palmieri is the big name, pending UFA winger, who would be a catch for any team trying to add some offense. But first order priority at some point here in the near future is for the Devils to go to Palmieri's camp and see if there's a fit to sign an extension. Obviously, we know what happens if there isn't.
Yeah, Canadian teams making deals with U.S.-based teams still means a 14-day quarantine. But could that change, Frank?
It could. The NHL is certainly hoping that it does. They've been in discussions with the Canadian federal government, hoping to get that reduced from 14 days down to 7 days. But at this point, they don't have an answer, and they're waiting on one. The federal government's been awful busy over the last number of months, and so not happening as quickly as the NHL would want. And I can tell you that the GMs are not holding their breath.
Yeah, all this comes on the day that Canada and the U.S. have extended the restrictions on non-essential travel at the border until at least April 21st.